In today's video, we've got the one and only Rory McIlroy to share his driving secrets.
And make sure you watch the end of the video so you can find out how to win a brand new TaylorMade Stealth driver. Oh, didn't know he was going to hit that then, but that was really good.
So welcome to Meandmygolf. Now if you're new to the channel and you want to improve your game, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that bell to never miss a video.
Rory, how's it going?
How you doing?
Good to see you.
Great to see you, Rory.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for joining us.
As always,
Pleasure.
thanks for joining us. We have to talk about driving. You know, I've got to be careful how I say this, because we think that Rory's probably the best driver in the world, but DJ's sitting right over there, so we may have to be a little bit careful.
He's better
with
than
this.
DJ. He's better than DJ.
But we want to pick your brains on the driver, obviously.
Yeah.
So when you go to warm up, either play a tournament or just play a normal game, how do you calibrate your driver? What do you do before you warm up that's really important to you that they can learn from?
Yeah, so I think setup, fundamentals. I mean, I think we talked about it before, just before getting on here. The driver is a different animal than the rest of the bag, right? I mean, you've got a tee, the ball's sitting a couple inches off the ground. It's just different. So I think the setup has to be a little different, and you just have to get comfortable with putting that ball up in your stance and trying to hit up on it and all that sort of stuff. So calibration wise, before I go out to play, I just want to try to get comfortable with the setup of the driver in terms of how I'm standing to it, and then just get it, just get striking it well. Just make sure you're getting it out of the middle of the club face, and then from there, if you're a little more advanced and want to try to hit some draws and fades and try to imagine some of the holes that you're about to play out on the course, then you can do that too. But with these modern these modern drivers and modern technology, if you start hitting it out of the center of the face, it's going to go pretty well.
Should we hit one, shall we?
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Let's get this going. So I'm just going to get it.
All right, normal drive.
Normal
let's
drive.
just go straight down to that
normal
flag.
drive.
It's always very different watching your driver, Rory, to anybody else's, because it just launches. It launches so different to a lot of others, doesn't it? You hit up on it a lot. It's a beautiful.
Yeah, and I think
shot.
as well. I mean, we're playing a hole today that's downwind, so you sort of naturally want to get it up there just to get as much out of the wind as possible as well.
181 ball speed.
181.
Not bad.
Okay, that's all right.
Let's have
That's
another
fine.
one, and then we'll
He's
get
jet lagged.
into some.
He's jet lagged.
Yeah.
You can get better than that.
I can't 100%.
Yeah, he definitely got better than that. That's a beauty again. High, little right to left. Beautiful shot.
187 ball speed.
Really? 187 ball speed. Okay, let's stop there. It's making me feel bad.
Jesus Christ.
So the majority of the viewers on this don't hit it like that. They would hit it generally with a little bit of left to right, maybe a slice. How would you purposely, let's say you wanted to shape it a little more right to left.
Yeah.
What would you do in setup, thoughts, feelings? Just talk us through how you do that and create that.
Yeah, so the draw is obviously something that comes pretty naturally to me, so I don't have to think about it as much. But if I'm having to describe what I do, I mean, you get behind the ball and you try to visualize where you want the ball to start, where you want it to finish, try to visualize the curve of that golf ball. And then for me, trying to hit a draw, like obviously aiming is important and all that, so you're really trying to get, you want to make sure that where you're aiming is where you want the ball to really start. And then what I try to do from here, I try to not do, when I try to draw it or overdraw it, or I think the average golfer tries to draw it, they whip the club inside because they want to attack the ball from the inside, but I think that creates more problems than solutions, I guess. So for me, even I really try to think about keeping that club in front of me on the way back, because then naturally, if you do keep it in front of you and you want to hit a draw, it'll naturally just want to come down inside to then attack the ball and hit the draw. Sometimes I think if you whip it inside, like you can't come, you sort of
a reverse
over, and then you miss it even further right.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I've always, and I get into that tendency of getting the club behind me early for trying to hit a draw with the driver, but the more you can try to keep it out in front of you, the more it's wanting to shallow for you, and then you can attack it from the inside and hit that draw. So for me, I feel I keep it in front of me on the way back, and then I almost feel like I let this right shoulder relax, and that sort of just keeps it in behind me here.
Drop and shallow.
And then clear and hit it.
Yeah, I like that. Let's see one.
Yeah,
I like that.
one of
That's
those.
good. Yeah. Pretty simple, isn't it, really? And I think, the more we talk
It is
about
pretty
these sort of
simple when it
things,
looks that good.
it is simple,
It is.
yeah.
So up the right, keep it in front.
I mean,
really
that
good.
was pure definitely started right at target, working his way back. It's a long way down there as well.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, we have some questions from our members. Let's go through these.
Right.
Evan Landry, might be what you just said actually. What's the most common mistake you see amateurs make? Excluding that one.
Yeah, excluding that one. I think effective golf sometimes can be pretty boring, or in people's minds it can be boring. Playing the shot you know that you can play, or that you can pull off at least 8 times out of 10. I think I see amateurs so much trying to play outside of their comfort zone and trying to take on shots that they think they should hit, instead of keeping the ball in play, you know, managing their games a little better, and that will produce lower scores. And yeah, sometimes it's fun to take on shots that you mightn't be able to pull off, but I think it's even more fun to just shoot better scores.
Yeah,
you know. So I think that there's so many other parts of the game that you can do really well at, and yeah, just managing your game a little better. If I were to caddy for like an average player, I really feel like I could take 5 to 10 shots off a round very easily.
Something we say all the time,
All the
isn't
time.
it? Just by getting to make the right decisions, the right club, the right sort of process and strategy. It's key. I'm sure a lot of you guys will relate to that. Are you trying to play and put yourself in a position where you can't really play that? Hit the like if you can relate to what Rory says there.
Understanding your limitations, I think,
Exactly,
is
yeah.
huge
Yeah,
in golf.
massive,
Huge.
massive.
So the next one, actually there's a few people on this, Lee Thompson, Anthony Hunt, Jeff Davis. How do you keep focused in a round when something is going wrong?
Yeah, we just talked about this.
We were just talking about it.
And sometimes it's hard when things don't go right and don't go your way. You know, it seems so cliche, but just focus on the next shot. Focus on.
Do you have a skill for that though? Is there a way that because you're right, you miss a putt, you 3-putt, you're like, oh, red missed.
Yeah.
How do you then go, great, no, what I need to do next is this?
You set yourself these little mini goals throughout the round. So like if I say you get off to a bad start, say you're like 1 over through 4, for example. Say, okay, I want to be 1 under through 9. I'm going to play the next 5 holes in 2 under par. So okay, how do you do that? How do you methodically get your way around those next 5 holes and say, okay, well, I've got a birdie chance here and there, and you don't want to think too far ahead, and you want to keep, but I think if you just give yourself that little mini goal, it sort of resets. You're sort of playing, I think you're always trying to recalibrate in a round of golf. Like even if it's, say it's going really well and you're like 7 under through 12, and you're like, you know, all of a sudden 59 coming in your head, whatever it is, but you say, okay, no, I'm going to try to play the next 6 holes in 3 under par.
Yeah.
You know, just try to keep it like simple and sort of try to downplay the situation a touch.
I think it's interesting as well what you're talking about, Rory, the viewers at home, the questions about what happens if it goes wrong. It's also, well, what happens if it's going well? It's like, what do we do if it's going well? And like you said, it's like treating it like, well, let's park this 3 under par or this 1 over par or 2 over par for the amateurs, and it's all in the past now. But what can I do now on these next 3 holes?
Exactly.
It's an interesting question because we need to think about that, because hopefully we're going to get in that situation sometime as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, right. Let's talk about also something that's probably overlooked with a lot of amateur golfers: pre-shot routine.
Yeah.
You've talked recently about how maybe you've got a little bit down the sort of technical side and trying to get the swing to produce the result, and then you've gone back more to maybe letting the shot just produce the motion. Talk us through your pre-shot routine, the process, what you go through to really help the guys maybe come up with something they can use.
Yeah, so I think the one thing that's helped me a lot over the last few months is, especially like even you have it, like say this tee box, it's not aiming you exactly down the middle of the fairway, right? It's sort of aiming you over to the right and you're having to aim across it. So I've been using an intermediate target pretty much every shot, especially tee shots. So if I'm going at the pin there, I'm much better at aiming at a target that's, you know, 4 feet in front of me instead of trying to aim at something that's 300 yards away.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so, you know, I'll try to pick a little speck of, you know, if I'm trying to hit like a pretty neutral shot, a little speck of sand up there, and I just try to, you know, I aim my club face at it, and then I just try to get my body parallel to that, and I know then that even if a tee shot feels uncomfortable, you know you're aiming in the right spot.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of courses on tour and stuff, you have to do that. They try and play tricks with you and have the tee box aimed at different angles.
There,
So, and then it's always, I feel like it's always awkward aiming across the tee box for some reason. I always feel like I'm aiming way too far left. That's how it feels to me. But then if you just use that intermediate target and trust that, then at least you know you're aiming properly. And like you guys know, like if you've basically won half the battle if you're if you're standing the ball correctly.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, it just makes the rest of it just a little bit easier. There's a great video of Jack Nicklaus. I think it's like the 1975 Masters, and it's his second shot into 15 on the last day. And he used an intermediate spot quite a lot. So all he did was focus on the intermediate spot, and then he'd look at that, he'd look at the target, look back at the spot, look at the ball, target, spot, ball, and then, but it's just really cool to see, like arguably the best player ever using such a simple technique to make sure that he's aiming the right way. And so that's a big part of the pre-shot routine.
And most amateurs don't even come back and stand on the target line. What Rory's doing here is putting himself on the target line so he's able to see and feel exactly where he needs to walk in and pick that spot out. That's a key thing that you guys can do.
Yeah.
And then what's next? I mean, you've done your visualization
Yeah, so I've done my
first.
visualization first. So again, if I was saying if it was a pretty neutral shot I wanted to play, I'd try to visualize that shot, you know, go pick my intermediate spot, and then just try to let the swing sort of respond to that picture that I'm seeing. I think it's just about the more visual you can be, and the more you can even see yourself, like even if you're behind the ball, see yourself in there hitting that shot.
Yeah.
You know, that gives you so much confidence to stand up there and say, okay, well, you know, I've seen it, now I can, you know, try to do it.
I think we need to hit a high bomb, don't we? Because I've got it on here.
So.
I mean, it sounds weird. I mean, we're saying hit a high bomb.
That's all he's
hit. Normally do that. The only reason we do, that's all he hits, and the reason I'm saying this is it's a Meandmygolf golf ball.
Oh, it has to be a big one.
This is the first time this ball's ever going to make it over 250, I think.
It's probably going to find the middle of the face as well.
I'm going to have to run at this one here.
Yeah. So what do you go through when you do this, actually? Let's just go, are there any simple thoughts for you, feels?
So like wider stance. This is something that you probably know from the gym and stuff, but I try to intra-abdominal pressure. I try to really like just feel like I've got a real solid real solid core to hit from. So I'm in there, I'm shuffling my feet, I've got my core nice and strong, and I'm like almost like trying to get my nervous system excited to then bring it back. It's a bit like Bryson talks about this a lot, but I try to do that. And then if anything, what I try to do, I try and wind up to the top as much as possible. I try to feel like I initiate my downswing and I give my right pocket or my right hip just firing towards the ball.
Okay.
Like I'm a very right side dominant feel. Like all my feels of my swing are more right-sided than left-sided. So I just try to get this going at the ball as much as possible. Okay. And that seems to clear to then create that sort of whip through and create a bit extra speed. So we'll see.
Okay.
Waking the radar, and we are good to go.
Okay. This could go off the planet, but I'm going to hit it hard.
Doesn't matter. Recoil and everything.
Look at that. I mean,
we'll tell you when that hits the ground.
It's off the planet, but it's off the planet dead straight.
It's just hit the ground.
It's a touch off the bottom.
That's amazing. 6.7
got a little
up.
spinny, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that was really good. That was really good. Yeah. Okay. 189 ball speed. So didn't get the 190, but 189 ball speed, and just the 345 yards carry. That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Not bad.
Down the middle.
You're left
down
with
the
flick.
middle as well.
Exactly. Yeah, left with the flick into the green there.
Down the middle.
Rory, look, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Really, really good to see you.
Yeah,
look,
you too.
amazing to share some of that
Thanks.
great stuff with the viewers. And guys, look, if you want to win one of the brand new Stealth drivers, which is amazing, by the way, all you need to do is like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and we're going to choose a winner very soon. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.